Submission Radio here with Chris Camozzi, the man who takes on Dan Kelly at UFC Fight Night Melbourne, and also happy belated birthday boy of a few days ago. How's it feel, man, to spend your birthday here in Australia?
It's great. I don't really care about the birthday other than getting paid. So for me, it's just another birthday. But it's great to be in Australia. It's a memory that I'll remember forever.
Must be a bit weird. The family's back home. It's, probably not too special a day for you. But what did you do for your birthday?
Worked out. My brother's here. My brother, he just recently signed with the UFC too, and he's one of my main training partners for a long time now. So he came out here with me. I was able to spend my birthday with him, and Thanksgiving as well. My wife just got into town today. I saw her right before we came here. So, I don't feel like I'm out here alone, and I'm enjoying myself.
Are you going to do a proper birthday celebration after the fight?
Yeah, definitely. So my wife and I are going to take a trip to the Hamilton Islands after this fight. I think I'll be in Melbourne one more day, and then I'll take off and enjoy a little bit of time off, and then right back to work.
Now, the way this fight came together was you said you wanted a holiday to Australia. Is a part of you surprised that it all sort of came together so perfectly? You mentioned your family's here, your wife's here. Now that you're actually here, has it sort of sunk in you'll be fighting Dan Kelly here in Rod Laver in Melbourne?
Yeah, definitely. So, I knew what I needed to say to get the fight. I don't think it's the holiday right now. This is work for me. I've had a ton of fights. I've had more UFC fights than Dan's had fights. So this is nothing new for me, but I knew what I needed to say to get this fight, and it's all business for me.
You mentioned how you've had a lot more fights than Dan Kelly. The experience factor, do you think that's going to be something that'll sort of play into the fight and the outcome?
No, I don't. I don't think, we're all experienced on this level. Dan's been competing on a world level forever, so if I were to say that my experience in the UFC would play a part, I don't think that's the case, because he's had quite a few UFC fights, and he's been competing in Judo all over the world, so he's used to this.
A lot of people looking at Dan's last performance are saying that he's getting better, even though he is a little bit older than all the other fighters in the division. What are your thoughts on what he's been able to achieve in the middleweight division and his performance in his last fight, where he seemingly looked to improve his skills on the stand-up and look better than ever?
Yeah, I was impressed by his last fight, actually, and I said in a previous interview that he thinks that I called him out to fight because I think he's old and slow, which isn't the case. I just knew that he would take the bait if I said it. Looking at it, he's 11-1. You can't disrespect that. He's only had one loss, and he's a tough opponent. Again, he's fought on the world level in Judo and fighting, and I can't look past him.
What's the game plan going in here? A lot of people are saying you're going to try and avoid some of those clinch situations with him, avoid that world-class Judo. We've seen you in some scraps, we've seen you go out there and just put on a show. In your mind, is there a strategy to beating Dan that sort of stands out come Sunday?
I think I'm better everywhere. He's great at Judo, but this isn't Judo. I'm not wearing a gi. I train Judo back home. I'm only a white belt, but I've wrestled for a long time. I do a lot of Greco wrestling, and there's a lot of counters to things. There's a lot of things I see where Judo doesn't always work. And again, he's got to get past my strikes to clinch up with me, and that's a feat in itself.
Chris Camozzi has always been an exciting name in the division, but if you do get this win, what happens next? What are your aspirations? You're still young, you've got a lot of experience. Are you looking at the title? Is that still a goal of yours? Are you one of these fighters that wants to put on exciting shows and put on big fights? What's the big aim after this fight if you do get the win?
All of it, get paid. The big aim for me is UFC just announced a fight in Denver. I've never fought for the UFC in my hometown. And, that would give me enough time as long as I can get out of this injury-free. Sometimes you win and you still got some injuries and stuff. But as long as I'm healthy, January 28th, the UFC's coming to Denver, and that's right in my backyard, and that's a dream of mine to fight there. So right into the next one.
Wow, we respect the quick turnaround. Dan's spoken about how he wants to make your life a living hell. He also says that a lot of people say that Dan's sort of an ugly fighter in the sense that he gets better as the fight goes on. Has a lot of sort of wars. Are you sort of aiming to have potentially fight of the night performance here, and maybe get a bit of extra cash for? You said you want to get paid for that birthday celebration, the Hamiltons.
Yeah, I used to say when I was younger. I can say that now that I'm 30. I used to say, I want fight of the night. I don't want fight of the night. I want performance of the night. I don't want to go in and have a 15-minute battle because, the faster I can make fights, the longer my career can be. And I agree with you. I think Dan does get better as the fight goes, but it's my job to not let it go that long for him to gain any momentum.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, does that have anything to do with the fact that you've just turned 30? Because a lot of people's notions of Chris Camozzi is you walk out there, you get in these wars, you sort of do go for those bloodbaths. Is that changed recently, or has that always sort of been your notion and the fight's just played out that other way?
I think I didn't do anything to change it, but it's just kind of in my head. In the last year and a half, you've seen my career, getting a lot better, and I just kind of changed that mentality in my mind. Same thing when I fought Joe Riggs. I went in there, I was like, Riggs is a good fighter. He's known for those scraps, and I was like, I don't even want to get in this. I want to finish it quick, make a statement, and get performance in the night rather than fight of the night. But I wouldn't say no to that 50,000.